Do you know who the most dangerous person in any room actually is? It's not the loudest one. It's the person who stays quiet, who says almost nothing about their plans, but who quietly rebuilds themselves a little more every single day. It's the person who never shouts about their dream but keeps a fire burning for it on the inside, where nobody else can see it. Look around today and you'll notice everyone's in a rush, rushing toward success, rushing toward money, rushing toward results, rushing toward respect. But there's one thing almost everyone has forgotten in that rush. Anything worth building takes time. Your dream is big. Your goal is big. Your purpose is different from the 10 people around you. And yet somehow, you're still not willing to be patient. You're still not willing to hold yourself to real discipline. That gap between the size of your ambition and the size of your patience is exactly what's been slowing you down. Before we go any further, do one small thing. If this already feels like it's speaking directly to you, hit follow right now, while you're still thinking about it, because the next few minutes might genuinely reshape how you carry yourself from today onward. Turn on notifications too, so you can come back to this the next time someone tries to get under your skin. Alright, let's get into it. 6 real shifts that quietly build an unshakable person, one at a time. The first shift is learning to control your emotions. Do you know the single biggest weakness in most people's lives? It's not a lack of talent or opportunity. It's simply having no control over their own emotional reactions. Someone says one thing and suddenly you're furious. Someone makes an offhand comment and your whole mood collapses. That's not emotional control, that's the complete absence of it. If a small insult can break you instantly, if a careless comment from someone can make you spiral, if being ignored can throw you into weeks of self-doubt, that's a clear sign your emotional control needs real work. This is exactly how people quietly waste their own power, bleeding energy into every small provocation instead of saving it for what actually matters. Remember this, someone who can't control their own mind will never be able to control their own life either. A lion never barks like a dog demanding attention, because it already knows its real strength lives in its stillness. Think about the difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. A thermometer just reflects whatever the room's temperature already is. It reacts passively to whatever's around it. A thermostat sets the temperature itself and holds it steady, regardless of what's happening outside. Most people live like thermometers, letting other people's moods, comments, and judgments dictate their own emotional state minute to minute. The people who actually build something lasting learn to live like a thermostat instead, steady, self-set, refusing to be dragged around by whatever the room happens to be feeling that day. Life will hand you plenty of moments where people try to make you feel small, where they say things designed to hurt, where your confidence takes a direct hit and everything in you wants to walk away from it all. And often, the people doing the insulting are doing it precisely because you're going through something hard, because you haven't achieved anything visible yet. That part is almost universal. But the answer to an insult was never another insult. Words don't need to be answered with more words. They need to be answered with results loud enough that the other person's mouth closes on its own. Respond with your actions instead of your voice, because a verbal response only escalates things. The other person reacts faster, gets crueler, and the whole exchange spirals into something neither of you actually wanted. Take your time instead. Stay calm. Work on yourself quietly and come back transformed. The strongest people on earth answer with results, not arguments. They speak less and react even less, because they understand exactly how much energy gets wasted in the back and forth of proving a point that was never worth proving in the first place. Everything is simply a matter of timing, and time doesn't belong to any one person. If someone else's moment has already arrived, yours is still coming. You just have to stay ready for it. Stay off the ledge of despair. Believe in yourself no matter what the situation looks like, and keep that emotional control tight, especially when it's tested the hardest. The second shift is building yourself quietly without announcing it to everyone around you. You don't owe anyone an explanation of your plans. You don't need to convince the entire room of how good you are or how close you are to something great. Just work on yourself in silence, without needing a reaction, without needing applause along the way. Eventually, your results will speak on your behalf, and results are always the cleanest, most convincing answer anyone can give. Notice how today people perform far more than they actually produce. Social media is full of people acting out success, but the people who are genuinely successful are almost always the quietest ones in the room, still working, still refining, long after everyone else has stopped watching. When you're building yourself, make less noise. Noise fades. Work becomes history. If you ever want your own story to inspire someone else one day, it has to be earned in private first, built quietly before it's ever shown to anyone. Your plans don't need an audience. Your dream doesn't need to be explained to people who were never going to understand it anyway. Learn quietly. Work quietly. Improve quietly. One day, the result will do all the talking you never needed to do yourself. Think of a candle burning inside a closed room. It doesn't need to announce that it's lighting the space. It simply burns steadily, and the room is different because of it, no explanation required. That's what quiet, consistent effort actually looks like from the outside. Nobody needs a speech about it. They just eventually notice the room has changed. There's a strange trap that comes with sharing every step of your journey too early. The moment you announce a goal loudly, some part of your brain quietly registers it as already accomplished, and the motivation to actually finish it can start leaking out before the real work even begins. Keeping the plan to yourself isn't about secrecy for its own sake. It's about protecting the hunger that's supposed to carry you all the way to the finish line, instead of spending it on applause you haven't earned yet. The third shift is turning pain into fuel. There is no human being alive who has never known sorrow, never carried some private weight, never spent a stretch of life quietly hurting. You will not find that person anywhere on this earth. Pain is unavoidable, there's no route around it, but there are two kinds of people in this world. One kind breaks under pain, the other kind gets stronger because of it, and you get to choose which kind you become. When difficulty shows up in your life, you have two options in front of you. You can collapse, decide you're not capable, lose your self-belief entirely, and convince yourself none of this was ever meant for you. Or you can take that exact same pain and turn it into fuel. Some people say they never forget an insult, never forget a painful comment, and instead of letting it wound them forever, they turn it into their motivation. Which side you choose is entirely up to you. But remember this, fire doesn't destroy gold. Fire is what purifies it. The hardships in your life were never sent to destroy you. They exist to refine you into someone stronger than you were before. So don't fear pain. Turn it into your weapon and use it. The fourth shift is learning to walk alone. At some point in life, you'll realize something uncomfortable. Not everyone stays. People you sacrificed for, people you gave everything to, can still change, still drift, still leave. When that happens, don't collapse. Instead, build yourself strong enough that you can keep moving forward even completely alone. Loneliness was never meant to weaken you. It's actually one of the quietest sources of strength available to anyone willing to sit inside it. Spend time with yourself. Learn who you actually are, underneath all the noise of other people's opinions. Improve quietly on your own terms. One day you'll look up and realize you've become someone entirely different from everyone still standing exactly where they started. Every real battle in life begins without an army behind you. Some fights simply have to be fought solo, especially at the start, when nobody yet believes in what you're building. People show up once you've already proven something, not before. So in the beginning, walk alone and walk fast, because solitude, used correctly, moves you forward far quicker than waiting around for company ever could. There's an old idea worth remembering here. A single wolf can survive perfectly well on its own, but a pack only functions because each wolf inside it already knows how to hunt alone first. Strength in company is built on strength in solitude, not the other way around. The uncomfortable part of walking alone isn't the walking itself. It's the silence that comes with it, the absence of someone cheering you on at exactly the moment you needed it most. But that silence is also where most of the real work actually gets done. away from opinions, away from other people's timelines, away from anyone telling you it can't be done. Learn to be comfortable in that silence, and very little in life will ever feel as intimidating again. The fifth shift is understanding that discipline is the real power. You've probably heard this before: motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent. Motivation gets you to start. Discipline is what actually gets you to the finish line, especially on the days motivation has completely disappeared. So many of us have burned entire years telling ourselves, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll start the day after," until that tomorrow quietly became the very thing holding our whole life back. Discipline means working even when you don't feel like it. There will be days you're exhausted, days you want to postpone everything until tomorrow, days you tell yourself you'll restart completely fresh next week. But the work still has to happen, tired or not, because genuinely successful people were never working based on mood. They were working based on decision. They don't carve out time for the work between everything else. They carve out time for everything else around the work. You don't need some enormous burst of effort. You just need to get 1% better than yesterday, consistently, day after day. Do a little more today than you did yesterday, and a little more again tomorrow. Keep that going for a year and you won't recognize the person you've become. People around you won't recognize you either. Change is uncomfortable, sure, but if you refuse to change, the way people see you never changes either. Respect only comes to people who actually show something for their effort. So build the discipline. Guard your patience. Believe in yourself completely, because almost anything is achievable. The only real obstacle is that most people simply choose comfort over effort again and again, until an entire life quietly slips by. Discipline works a lot like compound interest in a bank account. A single deposit looks meaningless on its own, barely worth noticing. But make that same small deposit every single day, without skipping, and the numbers eventually stop looking small at all. The mistake most people make is judging their discipline by a single day's results instead of trusting the slow, compounding math of showing up again and again. Nobody gets to see the account balance grow in real time. They just wake up one day and realize it's grown into something they didn't think was possible a year earlier. The sixth and final shift is raising your own value. People only start respecting you once you've made yourself genuinely valuable. Think about how easily the world discards cheap things without a second thought. The same principle applies to how people treat you if you never invest in your own worth. So make yourself valuable. Educate yourself. Sharpen your skills. Keep your body strong and your mind even stronger, because a person without mental strength is easy for anyone to knock down. If people question your fitness, fix it. If people question your capability, prove them wrong through your work, not your words. Build financial strength too, not because money solves everything, but because money genuinely makes life easier in a world that doesn't often reward good intentions on their own. Nobody can say for certain when hardship will show up in your life. And when it does, the thing you'll need most is often resources. And how people respond in those moments tells you everything about who was actually in your corner. If help comes anyway, treat it as a bonus, not an expectation. But build your own financial footing regardless, because the world respects results, not excuses. Wherever you're standing right now, start exactly there. Don't wait for some perfect version of yourself to show up before you begin, because that version never actually arrives on its own. You have to build it. Here's the part worth remembering long after this ends. The same people who once doubted you, who dismissed you, who said you'd never make it, are the same people who will one day be genuinely stunned by what you've built. The people who denied ever really knowing you will be the ones telling your story to someone else. But none of that happens without you actually changing first. You have to work on yourself. You have to believe in yourself, even in the moments nobody else does. Don't let other people's negativity talk you into giving up. Be strong today. Build yourself quietly with a clear head, because the world tends to reward exactly one type of person: the ones who refuse to quit, who keep fighting, and who eventually show up with proof instead of promises. So make a decision today. No more weakness, No more excuses. No more fear running the show. Start today. Build yourself starting now. Control yourself starting now. Fight for your dream starting now. If you keep doing the quiet work today, one day your success will be loud enough to speak entirely on its own. None of these 6 shifts require you to become a different person overnight. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean never feeling anything. It means choosing your response instead of handing that choice away to whoever provoked you. Building quietly doesn't mean isolating yourself from everyone who cares about you. It means protecting your process from people who were never going to understand it anyway. Turning pain into fuel doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means refusing to let it be the final word on who you become. Walking alone doesn't mean staying alone forever. It means being strong enough to keep moving even when, for a while, nobody else is walking beside you. Discipline doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means keeping a promise to yourself on the days it would be easier not to. And raising your own value doesn't mean chasing approval. It means becoming someone whose approval actually starts to matter to other people, without ever having asked for it. Pick whichever one of these 6 feels the most uncomfortable to you right now. That discomfort is usually the clearest sign of exactly where the real work is waiting. If this reached you tonight, don't let it stop here. Save it for the next time someone tries to provoke a reaction out of you. Share it with someone quietly building through something hard right now. And follow along, because this is only the beginning of the conversation.